Okay, class. Good evening. Can you hear my audio? Good evening. Anyone from the group, kindly confirm if I'm audible. Okay, so yan. Okay, so for this meeting, we are going to have our discussion for radiographic density. So here, uh, okay, so dun sa president ng class, kindly record the attendance na lang ng mga nag-participate. So I can see some who are leaving the classroom. Yan, so may mga nagli-leave. So kindly take note them and so that I can acknowledge your attendance. So just listen in our discussion and inform me if yung natin is walang audio so that I can check my setting. Okay, so let's begin na. Okay, good day, class. So for this discussion, we are going to tackle radiographic density and the factors affecting it as part of our quality factors in a radiograph. Okay, so again, from time to time, we encounter the term radiographic density. So radiographic density, sabi dito, overall blackness or darkness. So whenever you are viewing or evaluating a radiograph, ang palagi nyo lang i-consider is gaano yung degree ng blackness or gaano siya kadilim pagka tinitingnan natin. That is radiographic density. And the physics behind that is, of course, the amount of X-ray photons. So I've already explained this to you that those areas that appear black or mas madilim sila, ibig sabihin yung area na yun naka-receive ng mataas na amount of radiation because they are lying underneath structures that are radiolucent. Yan. So radiolucent. So pag sinabi natin radiolucent, before those are structures with weak attenuation when it comes to X-ray interactions. Ibig sabihin halos tatagos lang sa kanila yung radiation like sa case ng lungs and other soft tissues na magpe-penetrate lang si radiation. So yung area na image receptor that lying underneath those kind of structures will receive higher amount of X-ray photons or radiation and magde-develop sila ng higher degree of density. Mas mangingitim sila. And this is also connected dun sa discussion natin ng contrast before because yung variation or yung different degree of blackness on adjacent areas will be the source of the visibility of detail. Kaya nakikita natin yung mga anatomy na outline natin sila dun sa ating radiograph. Okay, so and that is being radiolucent. Now let's discuss formally the factors affecting radiographic density. So, ito naman yung mga dapat nating i-consider. So, whenever we are trying to evaluate and as well adjust possibly kapag hindi based on your evaluation na yung ating radiographic density ay hindi maganda, let's say it is over, masyadong maitim or masyadong kulang, maputla yung image mo when it comes to density. So, ito rin mga factors na to yung mga pwede mong i-adjust or you can interplay with so that you can bring your amount of density to a desirable one. So para mas maging good quality yung radiograph natin. So which is candidate for accurate diagnosis. Okay, so now beginning with the first one here. Let me remove that. Okay, so beginning with the MAS as the controlling factor. So before, ano ang controlling factor natin pagka sa contrast? We have KBP. So KBP is the one that control contrast kasi yung variation nga ng penetration will create the different levels of blackness on those regions. So providing the visibility nung outline ng ating image. Ito naman sa MAS, it will dictate the amount of photons. So inside the X-ray tube, ang natandaan nyo lang sa kanya, si MAS ang nagdi-dictate kung gaano kadaming photons yung mag-emerge sa ating X-ray tube. So as we know, MAS are two-factor. So this came from the milliampere. So si milliampere, kung naalala nyo pa sa inyong radiation production, siya ang source ng current. So siya nagpo-provide ng electrical current, yung kuryente. Okay, now, so another factor creating your MAS is the exposure time. So this is the beam on time or gaano katagal na nag-ooperate yung tube generating that particular X-ray na formulate natin. Okay, so combining those two, so yung amount of time na mag-exist yung production ng radiation and yung kuryente na gagamitin to produce that radiation will create the MAS. And MAS is the one that controls the density because the quantity of radiation, yan, yung quantity ng radiation, siya rin ang magdidictate. So gaano kadami na radiation yung magagawa, siya ang magdi-dictate nun. Kaya siya ang nagko-control ng density natin. So it's quite obvious that the higher the quantity, the intensity yan. So yun yung mga connected concepts sa kanya. The intensity of radiation, the quantity, the number of photons that will be created, all of them will directly control the degree of blackness. So pag mas madami kasi sila, mas marami yung magkakos ng blackness dun sa area na na-expose natin. Okay, so that's simply how MAS affect the density. So kaya siya ang controlling factor kasi siya ang magdidictate kung gaano kadami yung magiging ating photons or radiation na siyang magdidictate ultimately ng ating degree of blackness. Now, as we mentioned, as the controller, syempre mas mataas siya, the higher it is, the higher the X-ray production, the higher the radiographic density. So darker yung image natin. So on the other hand, lower, so mas magiging white, lesser ang radiographic density. So paano kinukompute ang MAS? So simply, when you're provided with MA and the exposure time, usually second, so multiply mo lang, that's MAS. For instance, you are given 100 MA, so you have 100 MA and let's say 0.2 seconds. So pag pinag-multiply natin yung 100 MA sa 0.2 second, it will generate 20. So 20 MAS. So kaya out from that, in case in the near future I tell you to compute, for example, in your examinations, you can just multiply the two. But the more the tricky one possibly associated with this is in terms of looking for appropriate exposure time or even MA. So, ayan, for instance, given yung 20 MAS, binaliktad ko, pinahanap ko sa inyo yung exposure time na ginamit dyan, given that 100 MA will be used. So, gagawin nyo lang, you're going to divide the 20 MAS. So, when you divide 20 by 100, so 20 MAS and 100 MA, and so remove the MA, so wala ditong second. So, eto lang. Okay, remove. So, it will give you the exposure time. So, which is equivalent yun sa 0.2 second. Pag kinumpute nyo, reversibly, if you're going to look also for the MA, kung exposure time yung binigay ko, 0.2 to 20 MAS, divide nyo lang. So, divide mo yung 20 sa 0.2, makukuha mo dyan yung 100 MA. So, that's another way of dealing with this kind of problem. And actually, in the board exam, pinapakompute talaga to. So, medyo may mga twist. So, but that's the basic concept. Multiply lang, makukuha mo. Pero minsan kasi, papahanap sa'yo ano yung ginamit na MA doon, ano yung ginamit na exposure time. It's a basic arithmetic of looking for the quotient. So, the division lang. So, may mga konting twist lang yun. But along the way, I'll be introducing to you that those technique. Dahan-dahan. So, yun muna. So, yan. In addition na lang dito sa MA natin. So si MA, aside from it's the electric current, yung kuryente, si MA also will be the one that will determine the focal spot size. So remember this kasi napaka-importante niya pagdating natin doon sa ibang mga topic ng radiographic quality, particularly the geometric factors. So may influencing powers MA sa sharpness ng image when it comes to the focal spot size. The one that will determine kasi the size of the focal spot. When I said focal spot, so i-discuss pa natin siya na in-depth, but that simply pertains to the actual region or area on the face of the anode that will produce the X-ray beam. Yung mismong particular time, yun yung tinatamaan ng electrons coming from the cathode. So, yun yung surface ng anode na dun lumalabas yung mga X-ray photons, yung beam sa kanya lalabas. So, that's the focal spot. So, mas malaki yung focal spot natin, mas poorer yung quality ng image, mas tumataas yung blurred, or if you already hear this, yung word na penumbra, which is the edge blur. And so yung paglabo, yung pag-blur nung edges na supposed to be sharp, tumataas when you are utilizing high MA. So may mga basis kasi tayo kung kailan natin ginagamit yung high MA, low MA. So technically speaking, kapag mga malalaking structure, you're supposed to use higher MA. So yeah, let's say the threshold is 100 sa mga lumang machine kasi they set the standard or yung baseline sa 100. So 100 when you go higher than 100, it will trigger na the blooming or the enlargement of the focal spot. So let's say 100, you instead of 100 you use 200. Yan, habang tumataas ka, pinapalaki mo yung focal spot. So anong relationship niya? The higher the MAS, the higher the focal spot. So meron silang direct proportionality. So, yun, ang pagka ganun yung ginawa nyong setup na mataas ang MA, oftentimes you are dealing with larger structures. So, yung mga makakapal na anatomy, for instance, the femur or the thorax, yan, mga makakapal yan. So, you are supposed to use higher MA setting in order to generate, aside from generating a higher degree of radiation level para hindi mag-underexpose or mamutla yung image mo, this is also for the sake of uh, making the tube safe. Kasi pag mas malaki yung focal spot na trigger mo when you are going to use higher MA, it will lessen the stress on the anode. So mas yung anode natin is mas resilient sa init. So nalilesen yung local melting. So yung pagkasira ng anode natin like fitting and cracking due to higher or excessive heat production, mas nalilesen yun kapag gumagamit tayo ng larger focal spot size. Ano nakakapag-trigger niyan? Itong mataas na MA. Mataas na MA, tandaan yun. So, para kapag gagawa kayo ng procedure, hindi mag-overload or bigla na lang magma-malfunction yung X-ray tube ng machine na gamit nyo. Dahil nga gumamit kayo ng maliit na focal spot or bababang MA sa isang malaking structure. On the other hand, conversely, you can use lower naman if syempre, mas maliit yung anatomy na kinukunan, and they are good candidate for maintaining their sharpness. Yan. So, doon natin ginagamit yung mga lower MA. Okay. So, yan. Then, yung exposure time is the one that will help you in making sure yung lessening the effect of motion. And as you know, motion can trigger some changes or irregularity on the sharpness. Magkakaroon ng blur. Kaya mas better yung shorter exposure time. Though may mga technique din tayo na gumagamit tayo niyan, pero majority of the time, ang mas ideal is shorter exposure time. May mga exception lang doon, pero sa mga susunod na kabanata ko sa inyo i-share yun. Okay, let's go to other influencing factors pa ng density. So sila naman yung mga side character na may effect din sa density, pero mas ang focus kasi kay MAS. Siya kasi ang magdedetermine ng amount ng radiation that will be produced, dictating the level of blackness. Pero may mga pwede ring maka-affect or pwede makapag-modify nung effect na yun, at we call them the influencing factors. Okay, so for the influencing factors, the distance, and the first one will be the distances, especially we call them the focal film distance. Ito yung luma. Ang bago ngayon kasi is the SID or the source to image receptor distance. So yan yung distance sa pagitan ng X-ray source and ng image receptor natin. So sa X-ray tube, ito sa X-ray tube natin, ito yung IR. And sa image receptor, yung tube. So gaano kalayo sila sa isa't isa, yun yung tinatawag nating SID or FFD. So mas ginagamit na natin ngayon kasi sa SID, siya yung bagong term. So yung pero FFD are being used by before conventionally. Okay, so ano yung effect niya? This is being dictated by the inverse square law. Okay, so when we said inverse square law, as the distance increases, the level of intensity of radiation is decreasing proportionately. So by square of the distance. So halimbawa, para mas magets nyo, pag dumoble ang distance, mag magka-quarter or magwa one-fourth yung ating intensity ng radiation that will be incident on the film or the image receptor. So yung makakarating na dami ng radiation dun sa area kapag ka dinoble mo yung distance from the original na distance silang dalawa, dinoble mo. So yung image receptor natin, mas mahinang radiation yung darating sa kanya. Usually 4 times na mas mababa compared nung mas malapit siya nung hindi pa natin dinodoble yung distance. Ang tawag natin sa konsepto na yun is inverse square law. Ang effect nun, if there's no manipulation that will be employed, is magiging mababa rin yung density kasi bumaba yung incident radiation level dun sa ating IR. So ang pinaka-effect niya is pagbaba rin ng nung density kasi na explain natin kanina that directly proportional sa quantity ng radiation ang radiographic density. Kaya ang primary controller sa MAS kasi kinokontrol niya yung quantity ng radiation. Okay, so yun, that's inverse square law. Yun ang tatandaan nyo. Nagba-vary siya, nagdi-decrease siya by the square of the distance. Kaya pag sinabing dumoble ang distance, magpo 4 times sa bababa yung ating density. Pagka naman ni-reverse yun, yung situation, instead na dinoble, kinalahati yung distance. So, opposite effect lang. So, mas pinalapit mo ng 2 beses or kinalahati mo yung distance. That would promote a times 4. So magta times 4 naman yung density mo, mas mangingitim siya. Kaya kapag sa practice when you lengthen the distance of the tube. So mas nilayo niyo yung tube doon sa pasyente, doon sa image receptor, mas maputi yung image nyo, mas bababa yung density. Pero kapag yun mas nilapit nyo pa, mas mangingitim yung image. Pero meron kasing consequence yon kapag ka sa natin in some other factors like yung exposure field, pwede niya maapektuhan as well as possibly the doses, yung mga doses din na nare-receive ng patient na apektuhan. Pero primarily here, pinag-uusapan muna natin is density. Napakasimple lang. So kapag pinalapit mo, mas malakas yung dating ng radiation dun sa IR, mas mangingitim. Pag pinalayo mo, syempre, mas hihina. So parang lang yan, kapag halimbawa, ilaw, pag mas malapit sa'yo, mas nasisilaw ka. Pero pag mas malayo, hindi masyadong ramdam. Pag sound, yung source ng sound, yung speaker, pag malapit na malapit sa tenga mo, mas malakas yung effect niya. Pero kung napakalayo ng source ng sound, mahina. Okay, so that's simply, yun yung analogy ng inverse square law when it comes to radiation. And I believe that na-encounter nyo na to before on the subject of radiation production and characteristics. And i-apply lang natin ngayon dito sa case ng formation ng radiographic density. Okay, so yan, nabanggit na nga dito yung mga effect ko. Decreasing SID, daw magiging cause niya yung mas marami yung photons na darating, mas intense yung tatamang magkakalapit kasi sila. So, ang pinaka-source dito is yung beam divergence. So, yung beam natin kasi mas malapit sa source, lesser yung pagkalat niya. So, kapag tumama siya sa surface ng any receptor, mas intense yung kanyang effect kasi magkakalapit nga yung mga photons. Pero as we move away, yung mga photons nagda-diverge na, naghihiwa-hiwalay na sila. So, kapag na-expose nila yung particular na region, hindi ganong kasing intense or ganong kasing black compared nung mas malapit sa image receptor. Kaya dito yung pangalawang statement, increasing decreases or lowers the density. So yun yung tatandaan nyo, mas malapit, mas nagiging itim. Pag nilayo mo yung tubo sa pasyente or sa IR, mas mamumutla or mamumuti yung image natin. Okay, so another influencing factor, as mentioned here, is the kilovolt peak. So, si kilovolt peak naman, nabanggit ko na sa inyo to before ng discussion natin ng contrast, is the potential difference. It will determine, yan, so it's simply, it will, sorry for that. Okay, so let me Okay, so si kilovolt peak. So si kilovolt peak simply will determine the penetration. So siya yung energy na kailangan para makatagos yung radiation once it is being produced. So kaya siya nag-determine ng quality. So your MAS, the controller of density, will determine the quantity of radiation, yung dami ng photons. Ito namang si kilovolt peak, yung energy, yung lakas ng ating X-ray photons pag na-generate na sila. Mas malakas sila, mas may kakayahan silang lagpasan yung mga harang, yung mga dapat ma-penetrate. Pero dito sa discussion natin ng density, ang concern is over the contrast is yung effect niya sa blackness. So, to put it simply, kapag mataas ang binigay mong energy sa photons, yung mga photons kahit konti lang yung kahit ano sila, kahit hindi sila super dami, yung dahil mataas yung binigay mong energy, maraming makakatagos at maraming makakarating sa IR. So yun yung pinaka-primary principle dito. Pinalakas mo yung mga photons, kahit hindi sila super dami, maraming makakatagos. Unlike pagka kasi kahit marami pero mahina yung energy nilang dala, they will just be absorbed or mahaharang lang sila nung kanilang may expose na object. Pero dito sa case na to ngayon, kahit hindi sila kailangang super dami, malakas lang yung energy ng dala, tatagos sila. Marami sila makakarating doon sa destination, which is our image receptor. So, mas maraming nakarating, mas nagiging black yung region na yon. Okay, so yun lang yung pinaka-primary effect ng kilovolt peak, yung sinasabi dyan. So, sa primary effect niya, contrast. Bakit ba nagwawala? So, contrast siya. Pero dito, density, yung sa influencing factor siya ng density. Okay, so let's talk about pathology. So, method pathology, so this is the disease, the diseases or the nature of diseases. So, mga sakit yan. So, pathology kasi is the science of disease. So, in your third year level, you're going to, to have a subject in pathology. So, napakasaksakang damukal na mga sakit yon. So, pag-aaralan nyo lahat. Pero dito, ang gusto ko lang parating sa pathology yung mga sakit, may mga characteristic changes silang nagagawa sa katawan. So kung meron silang mga changes na nagagawa sa katawan, they have unique or certain way of manifesting on the radiographic image. So maraming maraming radiographic signs yun na sa third year nyo pag-aralan. Pero dito, dalawa lang naman yung gusto kong sabihin na dapat matandaan nyo kasi sa pathology niya, malaking tulong to pag nag-interpret, nag-evaluate na kayo ng mga images, especially kung napakita nyo ba ng tama yung pinapa-rule out na sakit. Okay, so unahin ko yung additive. So pag sinabing additive, siyempre plus. So pag plus, nagdadagdag. So yung pathology, ginagawa niyang lakas mag-attenuate ng beam ng ating yung anatomy. So kapag additive ang pathology ng anatomy na kinukunan mo, yung radiation, pag dumaan sa kanya, in the normal anatomy, supposed to be meron siyang uh, ideal na yun yung kanyang blackness. Pero dito, kapag merong pathology yun na ang category is additive, mas either nagiging makapal, mas nagiging dense, and mas maraming na-absorb na radiation. Kaya ang nagiging appearance niya is whiter than normal or mas nagiging radiopaque yung ating anatomy dahil sa presence ng additive pathologies. An example nga niyan, yung mga some types of tumor, yung mga tumors, yung mga types tayo ng tumors na pag-uusapan nyo sa third year nyo, like sa bones, meron tayong mga types of tumor sa bone. There are also certain tumors na edematous, so may mga lamang tubig, and some conditions, especially of the bone, like halimbawa osteopetrosis. Yan yung osteopetrosis, yung marble bone, masyadong tumataas yung density ng buto pero hindi siya beneficial. Hindi siya yung pagtigas ng buto na normal. So pero ang manifestation ng kapag sa radiograph, masyadong maputi than ideal yung ang buto ng pasyente kahit mataas na yung ginamit yung exposure factor, masyado pa ring maputi yung buto. So, okay, nawala pala yung ano ko. Wala yung, wait lang, let me return yung wala yung, wait lang, let me return my screen. Nawala pala bigla. So, pero yun yung sinasabi ko kanina. So, kapag additive ang pathology, simply ang nagagawa nun, mas pinapataas niya yung attenuating condition ngayon ng anatomy. So, kapag nag-expose kayo, masyado siya namumuti. So, reversibly, we have the destructive pathologies. Kung si additive, mas pinapataas niya yung attenuating property ng anatomy. Ito naman, mas sinisira. Kaya nga from the word it's destructive, nagsasubtract naman. Kung ito plus, ito minus, yung density, yung thickness ng anatomy is nababawasan. Example, yung mga osteolytic tumors ng buto, yung sinisira like yung multiple myeloma, yan, nagiging butas-butas yung buto. And also yung mga may air na conditions, like for example, pneumothorax, yan, na nagkakaroon ng excessive accumulation of air, nagiging less dense yung region na yon, mas nagiging easier yung penetration ng radiation. So, kahit hindi naman super taas nung exposure level nyo, nagiging sobrang dilim nung anatomy. So, yan yung mga characteristic ng destructive pathologies. So, marami yan. Kapag ka sa third year nyo, pag-uusapan nyo silang marami. Pero sa categorization yan dito sa image manifestation, either they will make the image whiter or they will just be darker. So, yun yan. Meron silang mga characteristic niyan. Tapos, yung mga signs, yung kanilang mga hallmarks sa third year nyo pag-uusapan. Pero dito, yun lang gusto kong sabihin. Yan, na meron silang nagagawang effect on how the density will be created. Okay, so and pag-usapan natin yung film processing. So another factor that affects the radiographic density is the film processing. So your film processing, okay, so yan. Let me go back. Okay, so your film processing simply kung paano dinevelop. Yun lang naman. Kasi kapag ka sa ano natin, sa image like yung X-ray film, once na ma-expose yun na meron ng latent image, yung latent image is that's the invisible image na create ng X-ray sa film. Sa film yung pinag-uusapan natin ngayon ha. So hindi pa yun makikita unless na lang you process it through certain chemicals. Yan, diyan papasok yung darkroom processing na ilulubog siya sa developer, fixer, so on and so forth until such time na pwede na silang ma-display sa ano natin, sa view box or sa illuminator, sa negatoscope. Pero ngayon kasi we are in a digital era, more on the computer yon. So yung sa computerized and digital radiography nyo naman, meron sila mga processing techniques. Pero dito sa atin kasi, we are more inclined or mas pinag-uusapan natin ngayon ay yung analog na screen film. Yan. So yung manner nung pagde-develop, like yung time, yan, yung time mas matagal, mas nagkokos yun ng sobrang build up of density, mas nangingitim siya. So kapag ka rin masyadong mataas yung temperature ng mga chemical solutions, mas matapang yung solution, kahit hindi matagal mong ilubog sa chemical, sobrang mag-overreact yung mga chemicals, they will create a higher level of density. So yun yung pinaka-ano dito, pinaka-catch. So you need to know the nature of the chemical solution na gagamitin mo sa pag-develop ng film. Kasi kapag meron silang pagbabago, for instance, medyo matagal na yung solution mo, medyo magtatagal ka ng konti kasi mahina na yung kanilang ability to create density. On the other hand naman, pagka bago yan, bagong timpla, kahit kakalubog mo pa lang, ang bilis ng mag-create ng density, lalo yung mga bagong chemicals ngayon na napo-formulate. So, you need to take that into consideration kung ayaw mong magkaroon ng poor density kasi sobrang mangingitim or magiging maputla naman kasi nga medyo mahina na yung chemical solution. So you need to be able to identify those situation. So para tama na yung mga nagawa mo, pumalya ka lang doon sa pinakadulo, which is yung processing. Yan, kasi magkaka-connect kasi yan. So merong problemang isa, sira na kagad yung quality. Uulit ka ng paggawa ng image. And as you know, kapag umuulit tayo, dumadami yung radiation na binibigay mo sa pasyente. So mas nagpapaulit-ulit ka, mas na-compromise yung patient safety when it comes to radiation exposure. Okay. Then we have intensifying screen. So we have a separate discussion for this one. Pero ang pinaka ano lang naman nito, ang sinasabi lang naman ng intensifying screen is yung X-ray natin mahina. So kapag ka direct X-ray ang exposure, matagal ang formation ng image. Matagal na expose yung pasyente sa radiation, mas mataas yung dose na nare-receive niya. So kaya na-create yung device na intensifying screen. So ang kanyang mechanism of action is converting the weak X-ray signal into intensified or higher magnitude of light output. So, konting X-ray lang kasi remember sa radiation production, di ba, less than 1% lang all throughout the process yung X-ray na lumalabas. Majority, more than 99% at the diagnostic level is heat. So, kapag ano na yun, lumabas na yung less than 1% X-ray na yun, pag nag-interact pa sa pasyente, magiging lalo siyang less than 1%. So pagdating sa image receptor mo, sobrang hina. So kaya kung direct exposure method, when we say direct exposure, wala nang ibang nakaharang pa doon sa film saka sa radiation. So direct tinatamaan ng radiation si film. So yun, matagal yung formation ng image doon. So mas matagal na expose sa radiation, mas mataas yung dose ni patient. That's why we have intensifying screen. Pinapabilis niya yung formation ng density kasi kino-convert niya sa X-ray into visible light. Pero yung visible light, so minultiplied na siya coming from low density of low amount of X-ray na dumating. And so shortening that amount of time for creating the image. Pero may consequence kasi yun sa radiographic quality, particularly sa sharpness. Pag-uusapan natin yun sa geometric factors. Pero dito, ang gusto ko lang sabihin is mas mataas yung capacity ng intensifying screen, mas mataas ang speed niya, even low level of X-ray, kaya niya kagad padamihin. Yan. So, mas mabilis yung formation ng density. So, slower screens naman, mas mababa ang kanilang sensitivity, and they will tend to create less density at a particular time. So, mas matagal yung imaging time sa kanila. Pero pag pinag-usapan rin ng sharpness, at tandaan nyo, mas sharp ang image ng slower screens. Pero, hindi siya ganun ka-safe dahil magiging medyo matagal yung exposure time ni patient. And there are certain examination na mas ideal ang slow screens for the sake of preserving the detail. Example yan sa mammography. Pero sa mga susunod natin pag-usapan yun when we go to the radiographic details. Okay, so another one, we have emulsion. So emulsion, tatandaan nyo, ng film na doon talaga nakikreate that one, the film emulsion. That's the heart of the film. Okay, so may mga different types of film emulsion. We have different types of film depending on their construction. Similarly, the emulsion as one of the key player in the parts of our X-ray film construction, nakaka-apekto rin siya sa formation ng radiographic density. So like the intensifying screen, meron din tayong fast and slow. So pag fast ang isang emulsion ng film, kahit konting X-ray pa lang dumadating sa kanya, mabilis siya mag-produce ng density. So yung slow emulsion naman, kaya sila slow, hindi sila masyadong sensitive sa radiation. They need a lot of input. Matagal yung exposure ng radiation na kailangan nila bago sila makapag-create ng desirable radiographic density. So, yun yung difference ng dalawa, the fast and the slow. So, tatandaan lang, may trade-off yan. Pag mabilis, merong nasisirang quality ng image. Pero when it comes to the radiographic density, mabilis siya. And that is quite good for the sake of lessening radiation exposure ni patient. Okay, so yun yung effect nun. Now, let's talk about the Hill effect. So, si Hill effect naman pertains to the manner on how the X-ray tube is being constructed and yung generated na amount ng radiation ay naapektuhan. Okay, so for instance, ito yung ating anode. So, let me para mas makuha nyo. We have, I think na-discuss naman to ng radiation production, pero daanan ko lang din ng mabilisan. Okay, so ito si anode side and this is the cathode side. So here si anode natin kasi nakaslant na yung kanyang yung kanyang hill. So kapag ka na-produce yan, tumama na yung mga electrons and slow down na sila, mapoproduce na yung X-ray. So some X-ray that on the side of the cathode will just exit immediately. So yung kanilang intensity mas malakas compared yung mga nasa direction or nasa mas spacing on the side of the anode. So kapag naglumabas sila, they will pass through. May mga dadaanan silang portion pa rin ng anode. And then we call that one the heel of the anode. And ito yung nakaslant na portion that is the heel of our anode. So as they run on their way out of the anode, some of their energy is being taken away. So na filtered out sila, nagkakaroon ng partial filtration effect na humihina yung energy nila paglabas as a form of radiation, to be particular, X-ray. Yan. So kaya kapag sa side ng anode, mas mahina yung intensity ng radiation. And that's not good, not ideal, because supposed to be ang best natin is pantay dapat. So usually kasi, ang reality talaga niyan, 120% ang, or around 125, but higher than 100, that's around 120%. Yung gitna, yung central ray natin, pinakagitna ng beam yan yung 100%. So 120% yung side ng cathode, yung side ng anode is around mga 95, yan, mga 95. Basta less than 100 siya. So I think 70 IT yan. So 70 not 95. So yan, mas mahamak na mababa yung side ng anode. So, yung effect nito, hindi pantay-pantay yung darkness talaga sa X-ray field natin. So, though hindi siya ganun ka-ideal, we still have certain usage for this one. So, for instance, ang anatomy na kukunan mo ay hindi pantay yung thickness. For example, the femur. Yung hip portion ng femur, mas makapal, compared sa kanyang knee portion, yung sa tuhod, mas manipis yun. So, yung unevenness ng intensity ng radiation natin can be used to compensate for those to those region na may unequal thickness, especially kung wala ka ng mga accessory devices like compensating filters. Okay, so kung wala ka ng mga ganong device, you can use the principle of the anode hill effect. So, itatapat natin sa mas makapal yung side ng cathode kasi mas malakas yung intensity niya. Doon naman sa mas manipis na part yung side ng anode. So that pag lumabas yung image natin, medyo even yung level of darkness niya. So that's basically what the anode hill effect tries to tell us. Yun ang namin sa sinasabi dyan. Another one, MAS-SID relationship. Okay, so sa MAS-SID relationship, ang tatandaan nyo lang dito, this is the somehow the repercussion of the inverse square law. Kung maalala nyo kanina, pag sinabi natin inverse square law, pag mahaba ang distance, humihina yung level of intensity ng ating radiation na nakaka-reach ng ating X-ray field. So, unlike pag dinapit mo naman, mas malakas yung tumatama. So, to compensate for those scenarios and we don't want yan, so ayaw natin na na magbago yung density natin despite na magbabago tayo ng distance. We want to maintain the consistency, so we can use the what we call direct square law or simply the density maintenance formula. So instead the inverse, gamit tayo ng square law. So sa square law, kung naalala nyo yung formula ng inverse square law, intensity 1 over intensity 2 equals to distance 2 squared over distance 1 squared. So, inverse siya kasi magka-opposite yung dalawang may same na subscript. So, sa square law, gagawin natin siyang on the same side. But in this case, instead na intensity, so ang ating kasing, hindi naman natin makokontrol direct, not the, yung technical na ano na on the spot. What we can ano is before it is being generated. So it will determine yung lalabas na energy sa tube natin by controlling the MAS, yung intensity niya. So kasi nga intensity controller, MAS, kanina banggit natin. Okay, so MAS 1 over MAS 2, okay, equals to distance 1 squared over distance 2 squared. Napansin nyo ngayon magkatapat na. So direct square law na kasi siya or simply square law. So cross multiply kayo, magiging formula. Oftentimes ito pinapahanap yung bagong MAS. So magiging formula natin MAS 2 and equal. So ano na lang natin, pagsamahin natin to para mas madali nyo makuha. Yan, ganun na natin siya. So MAS 2, ano pala, ay mas komplikado pala to kasi ano pa kayo ng fraction. Gawin ko na lang yung mas simplified one. Yung pambura. Yung legs na to. Again, na space. Okay. Okay, so this again, distance 1 squared over distance 2 squared. Okay, so cross multiply natin. Ito po na yung pinapahanap. Lagay natin dito, MAS 2 times distance 1 squared. Ano pa bang space? Wala na pala. Okay, so equals to to MAS 1. Lagay ko nga dito para mas mako. Ito, ilalagay ko pa yung magiging form niya kapag nag-cross multiply na. Let me remove yung okay, ito yung magiging form niya. So we have the MAS 2 and distance 2 squared equals to MAS 1 distance 1 squared. So all over MAS 2, ang hinahanap natin, and cancel out here. Okay, yung formula ng MAS 2 natin will be MAS 1 times distance 1 squared all over distance 2 squared. So yun yung general formula in case man ipakompute sa inyo. Siguro by next meeting, let's have a practice on how this will be computed. Yan. Pero for the meantime, medyo intindihin nyo muna yung formula kasi apply natin siya. So possibly, this midterms magko-compute kayo. So by next week, I'll try to provide a sample computation on this one so that when you encounter, you know how to compute them. Yan, kasi literally in your board exam, pinapakompute to. Yan, kaya aralin nyo ng mabuti kasi malaking tulong siya sa board exam. Yan, na meron naman din to sa mga book, meron tong sample step by step, pero ito yung pinaka big sabihin niya. Yan, so ito yung basis natin on how we can compute for the new MAS without changing or causing change to our radiographic density. We want to maintain it. Gusto natin siyang manatili dun sa density na yon kahit nagbabago-bago ka ng distance. So ang ginagalaw na lang natin, exposure factor, yung controller niya, si MAS with the respect dun sa distance, kung paano nagbago yung distance. Ito yung pwede niyong gamiting formula. So, and next week siguro, i-compute natin siya. Ayan, maganda na naman. Ayan, malapit naman na. Okay, so I think this is the last. Okay, so 15% KBP rule. Okay, last time na-discuss ko na sa inyo to. Ang relationship ng KBP sa MAS. So remember, ang KBP, masyadong malakas yung effect niya na sa overall manifestation ng mga density. So though ang pinaka-controller talaga si MAS, we know that. So siya kasi magdidictate ng dammer ng photon sa magagawa. Pero in terms of yung lakas kung paano makakatagos dun sa mga ma-expose na anatomy and reaching the image receptor, it will be dictated by the KBP. Kaya mas expressive yung effect niya. Okay, so here 15% KBP rule, if you're going to recall this one, yung 15% ng KBP is equals to uh, to double of MAS. So kaya kapag na-apply natin yan, yung plus or minus 15% rule. So kapag nag-add tayo ng 15% sa original na KBP, let's say for instance 100 KBP yung original, nag-add tayo ng 15% niya. So pag kinompute nyo, tinimes niya sa CalQ, 15 or 15% ng 100, that is 15. So mag-a-add ka lang 100 from 100 kbp gagawin 115 kbp. Ang magiging effect nito, doble na yung pag-itim ng ating radiograph. Mas magdodoble yung pag-itim natin. So kahit hindi mo pinakailaman yung MAS, katumbas kasi niyan ng 15% ng kbp is pag times 2 ng MAS. So kung gusto mo na kahit binago mo na yung KBP, walang magbabago dun sa dati mong density. So, ika-counter mo yung effect ng 15% na KBP by dividing the MAS. Let's say, ang MAS natin din ay 10. So, divide mo lang to sa 2 na yun na ipa-partner mo ngayon, which is 5 MAS doon sa ating 115 kbp. So, anong density niyan? Yung 5 MAS sa 115 kbp is the same doon sa ating original na MAS. So, yung 100 MAS natin, 10 MAS sa 100 kbp. Yung combination na to equal yung degree of blackness sa combination ng 5 MAS, 115 kbp. So, bakit nagkaganon na walang naging pagbabago sa density? Kasi ginamitan natin ng relationship ng MAS sa KBP, yung plus or minus 15%. So kung hindi mo binago yung MAS at you just let the KBP to increase in such manner, the effect will be double of density. So, kung hindi mo binago yung MAS. Okay, so reverse kapag minus mo naman. So minus mo yung 15 tapos mag-ano ka, uh, okay, so you're going to times 2 naman. Na times 2 mo yung MAF. Gagawin natin 20. So yun lang naman yung ibig sabihin nun. And I provided with you yung ano niyan, yung sample computation. Okay, so this midterms possibly, i-practice nyo pa siya kasi ngayong midterms possibly ma-encounter nyo siya talaga. Yan, na nasa as a form of problem in your examinations. Okay, and sa board nga, hindi to nawawala. Yung computation na yan, yung 15% KBP, palaging nasa board exam yan. Kaya dapat ma-master nyo siya, i-practice nyo siya ng paulit-ulit. Okay, so para sa exam natin, kuhang-kuha nyo siya. Okay, so yun lang naman for the meantime. And yung detailed na ano neto na mga computation, siguro by next week, particularly the density maintenance formula sa inverse square law, i-ano ko sa inyo, mas i-detailed ko pa. Yan, para pag nag-exam, kuhang-kuha niya sila. So, for the meantime, hanggang dito muna tayo and see you next meeting.